It's a one-take holiday. Respectfully.
Okay. I'm cool with TikTok bleeding into my life, but not into the Packcast.
These guys are ruining my life.
Ruining your life? That's a bold statement, Jacob.
I need some new friends.
Wow.
If you're not on TikTok, hit me up. I can't do it anymore.
If you see these wolves podcasting in your yard, just know we're going hard. I'm Jeremy Van Suarez.
I'm Logan Riley Werner.
And I think I'm done with the Packcast, guys.
Oh my god. What a drama queen this one.
Such an Aries.
Get back in here. Who are you?
I'm Jacob Wade.
And welcome to a
West Side special?
A West Side special.
Yeah.
We have a new movie to talk about. We have a topic to maybe debate on. And of course, our movies of the week. But first...
I got the sniffles. We need to dust a little bit.
Yeah, there's too much dust in the air. Let's keep up this house, guys.
Yeah. Me?
Yeah. Take it away.
Okay. Well, we just released this past week a fresh new interview.
Mm-hmm.
Addie Jenkins, welcome to the Black Wolves Collective.
Welcome, Addie!
Your first interview is officially on our YouTube page, and check it out if you haven't checked it out.
Yeah, it's really great.
It was a great interview.
Yeah.
Some great answers there.
Yeah. Nice little Killmonger tangent right in the middle. It was really cool.
Yeah. I think it was still related to the question.
I think it went off into its own question, but I like when that happens. I like when we get answers to things that weren't really asked. It gives us an insight that we wouldn't have gotten, and I like that.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 44 of the Packcast.
Yeah. I don't even think we did a number drop, but yes, 44.
It's 44.
Second to last of the year.
Yeah, that's Louis' number, baby!
So you know what? You better win this weekend, buddy! By the time this episode airs, I hate that we do this every week, but by the time this episode airs, we will have a victor of the Drivers' Championship in Formula One racing. And my money's on Lewis Hamilton.
My money's on Lewis Hamilton.
My money's on Lewis Hamilton.
Hey! Welcome to the bright side, baby! Max, we love you.
I just think Lewis has the experience.
We just love Lewis, that's it.
Well, also,
and the car.
We could talk about...
Lewis got the car.
Well, Red Bull's got a great car. Max is just he's got a little road rage.
From time to time.
I think if he keeps a cool head this weekend, he might be able to come ahead. But
as long as this race doesn't end in like one of them DNFing because they
got into an incident with each other.
As long as they both finish, I'll be pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
All right. Fair.
No matter what happens.
In terms of housekeeping, though, I don't think there's anything else really to shout out at the moment.
Right. Stuff is coming.
As always.
Yeah. We're always working.
You know, we don't stop. Yeah, guys. Some interesting stuff has come out lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a couple trailers. Not trailers. Well, we got some announcements of things that are in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both movies and video games.
True.
But I think what we're going to focus on right now is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. That's right. Dune's starting a trend, baby. Part 1's all around.
Come on.
I don't know about that.
Dune didn't start a trend.
Well, what was the last Part 1 before Dune?
Let's talk about the first Part 1 you remember. The Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there was Breaking Dawn.
Yep.
And then there was basically Infinity War Endgame was basically Part 1, Part 2.
Yeah, but I think I say Dune is starting a trend with Part 1s because, right, Deathly Hallows was the end of a series.
Dawn was the end.
Breaking Dawn was the end. Mockingjay was the end.
Yep.
Dune is the beginning.
How do we know this isn't the end of the Spider-Verse series?
Because there's Part 2 coming.
Yeah.
Right.
But that could be the end of the Spider-Verse series.
Yeah. Part 2 could be the end. It could be the trilogy of of animated Spider-Man movies. So we don't know.
We'll see.
I wouldn't say that Dune started.
It's also not the first.
If another first. No, it's definitely not the first, but I think it's been a while since we've had a Part 1, Part 2 type movie.
It's been a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. What was the last one you remember?
Dune.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we are. Spider-Man sequels coming out.
It looks great. That
2099 Spider-Man is back.
Adorable.
The characters have aged a little bit.
Yeah.
It's nice seeing the familiar animation style come back.
And here comes Miguel.
And here comes
he was teased at the end of Into the Spider-Verse.
I believe so.
2088?
That was 2099.
2099?
It's one of those...
77, 88, 99.
One of those numbers, 44,
Yell at us in the
99.
comments for not knowing.
Sorry.
But I'm super excited about this. I read a thingy thing, an article. That's what people call it, right?
Yeah.
That the people who make the Spider-Verse movies approached Tom Holland to be a part of it. We don't know what came of those discussions, but they happened.
Is Tom Holland doing Spider-Man freshman year?
I don't think so.
Like voiceover for
Voiceover.
it? I don't think so.
Okay.
I would not be surprised if somehow we got the characters from Into the Spider-Verse in the MCU, but the only issue is that Haley Steinfeld is already in the MCU.
Yeah, but like, you think that they would be represented by like actors, like their actors,
like live action versions of those ones?
That's a stretch. Pal.
Yeah, it's a hard stretch for me to picture Nick Cage in a Spider-Man fit.
I don't think they'd bring Nick Cage in. I think they'd just bring in Miles if they did it.
If we're talking,
it's just Miles.
If we're talking, that's different.
Miles.
I would also assume that Miles is coming to the MCU as well, but not the whole cast.
He could come as soon as next week.
I'd rather see Miles in the MCU than Tobey or Andrew, to be honest.
Well, I think we already know we're gonna see Tobey and Andrew.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
I'm keeping low expectations so that I'm pleasantly surprised.
My expectations are through the roof.
Yeah, same. I can't help it.
Long.
Yeah, the Antissa.
Speaking of Tom Holland.
Yeah, he's doing. He's been announced for a new movie.
Patient. Yeah.
I was gonna wait even longer.
I know.
I was gonna do it like a segment from now.
Just be like patient. Yeah. So speaking of Tom Holland, he was just announced to. It's confirmed. He confirmed it.
Didn't he say he wants to do it? I feel like the article we read was like he's confirmed.
Tom Holland confirms role as Fred Astaire
for Sony Pictures.
But look at the actual article.
While promoting his new Spider-Man film, Tom Holland confirmed he has another big role coming. He casually told reporters, "Oh, I am playing Fred Astaire. The script came in about a week ago. I haven't read it yet. They haven't given it to me." But
that sounds like something that could... That sounds like a conversation that's happening.
Yeah.
And that he got a script, and that it's like, are you interested in doing this?
He confirms that he's interested. But
I mean, that's not a confirmation that he said, "I am playing Fred Astaire." That's a statement.
All right. And here's the thing. In Fred Astaire's will, he states that he requests that his likeness, that he not be portrayed by another actor on screen.
He never gave the rights to his life.
Yeah. Because he said
he doesn't want he doesn't want his life to be misrepresented.
Yes.
Very valid thing.
Very valid. I'd respect that. And just like Back to the Future has said that they're never going to do a remake of Back to the Future.
It also, the other thing that people have said is that it was a way to protect Ginger Rogers. That, like, if anyone ever wanted to make some hit piece about Ginger Rogers, that, well, you can't because you can't put Fred Astaire in it.
What's the story behind Ginger Rogers?
Just any drama that she might have had. We have Being the Ricardos coming out now.
Well, I think anything between
Pam and Tommy.
Anything about Ginger would directly have to do with
Fred.
So
you can't do a Ginger movie.
No.
They were just partners.
I don't
they
know.
were lifelong screen partners.
Yeah. They acted in everything together. And if you ever wanted to do a movie about her, that was in the vein of, say, Pam and Tommy.
Leave out.
Or, you can't do a movie like that. And it protects her. Without her having to be like, I don't want anyone to play me on screen.
Yeah. I will say Tom Holland's a hell of a dancer.
Yeah.
And
very talented.
He's extremely talented, and I have no doubt that he would do amazing in a movie as Fred Astaire.
And I was excited at first until I found out about
And maybe Fred's he doesn't know.
I mean, it's hard pressed to not know what the internet. At this point...
At this point, 5 days later, sure. But Jacob told me the Fred Astaire thing, and Jacob told you the Fred Astaire thing. We didn't know that he didn't want to be portrayed on film. So I would not be surprised if, like, a week from now, when all the Spider-Man hype is, like, starting to move on, if Tom was like, hey, by the way, I decided that I'm not actually going to do that movie because I heard a lot of backlash.
We'll see. I mean, his widow could have given...
She has in the past, and his daughter
permission.
Was like, I am furious about this.
Yeah,
So I would not be surprised if Tom found out and then pulled out. If he doesn't, I will be curious about what ends up happening with the movie if it even comes out. Because a lot of times things like this happen and it's like, oh, well,
movie's canceled.
We're just going to shelf the movie for the next 3 years and we'll see if we ever release it.
See
or
how
it
the
goes,
climate is.
Yeah,
3 years
we'll send it to VOD or we'll put it on some late night thing. Like,
That's
anything
so
could happen.
lame.
Yeah, anything could happen. Hey, we talk about all the movies that come out every week.
I know, yeah.
Some of them just
It could make a great movie.
It's
just like the idea of it.
It's the logistics behind it, you know.
It's
especially
the
if someone
behind
if someone specifically states don't put me in a movie, then
like if you've got respect for the artist,
respect the artist and their will, their last wishes.
Yeah. So hopefully this all gets resolved in a way that respects Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what I want to happen, but I think we all know what should happen.
Speaking of last wishes, Tony.
Aww.
Tony. We saw West Side Story! The new West Side Story directed by Steven Spielberg. And it was good.
It was really good.
It was good. We're
going to talk about West Side Story for a little bit. We won't get into spoilers.
You can't really spoil West Side Story.
You can.
It's like a 70-year-old story.
We're gonna try and avoid the
I mean, I already
changes. I'm gonna try and avoid talking about like changes that this particular picture makes.
Yep.
Specifically until we get to spoiler cast. I'll
I
say
feel
like generally, but I won't say like specific details. So, for example, I am very happy with this movie for expanding the backstory of a lot of characters.
Yep.
For giving a lot of characters a lot more authenticity, and for asking real questions that I don't think the original script asked.
Snaps for that.
I think that the changes that Tony Kushner made were absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think the changes that Stephen Sondheim made before he passed away are beautiful and just make the score better. Rita Moreno singing Somewhere is beautiful. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's a gorgeous rendition of the song. The score is fantastic, as always. The dancing is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
The cinematography is some of the best that I've seen in a
while. Yeah.
Some
Logan
of
and I
shots,
were like gripping each other in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
So excited about the framing of certain shots or the colors or
there's one shot just behind Tony that like we exactly looked at each other and we're just like,
I mean, come on. It's that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That one moment really stands out.
And I remember the framing of like a lot of the movie. And just like how specifically well shot it was. It was super good.
It's one of my favorite shows, period. I mean...
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
We've already talked about...
We love West Side Story.
West Side Story. And it's... Steven Spielberg does it justice, guys.
Truly.
Like,
I have to agree. I was pretty impressed by the cinematography and some of the performances, specifically Rachel Zegler, who played Maria, and Ariana DeBose, who played Anita.
Gosh,
those two are powerhouses and command the film.
I mean, just the voices.
A Boy Like That was phenomenal.
That was really good.
Maria's voice is just like perfect.
Yes.
Rachel's voice is killer. Her transitions are like insanely smooth.
Yeah.
Her phrasing is just like literally pristine.
I'm thinking specifically of a moment in the quintet.
Okay.
I'm gonna get it tonight.
Yeah, Anita bringing the.
We were cackling at that.
She was just great.
It's such like a heavy and dramatic like conflict going on. Like we're about to fight and stuff's about to go. Like if you know West Side Story, you know what's about to go down. And meanwhile, Anita's just like. I'm gonna get laid tonight. No, you're not, honey. I'm sorry. I love West Side Story because I go into every showing, every performance, every viewing of it with like this glimmer of hope that maybe this time it'll be different. And I know it won't be because the music, like the musical themes, like shove it in your face that like this is not going to go well. And I like that Steven Spielberg still manages to put in that bit of hope for me, who's someone who's seen it probably like 8 times by this point.
It was so
that
great.
even Steven's version of it, I was like, maybe Steven's gonna do it. Maybe he's gonna.
No, I know.
He's not gonna do it. I always know. That's the thing, but I'm just like, come on, guys.
I love the choice to have it take place like literally maybe just a week after the original one was filmed. So like the original one was filmed on like Lincoln Center.
Block.
Yeah.
Right before they tore the whole place down.
Exactly. And this is like it in its demolition. How
all these people are getting displaced.
Without the streets. Like without the actual like, you know, like
I specifically like the backdrop that Steven Spielberg puts this movie against.
Yeah.
Because it's in the original movie, like I understood it as just like these are like 2 warring houses, both alike in dignity.
Yeah.
But in this version,
2 equal gangs.
But they're not.
They're not.
In this version, there was a way bigger disparity between the 2 groups, and not only
and it's
that,
discussed too.
It's discussed, but not only that, by the opening sequence of this movie, you realize that like the fight they're fighting is in vain. They're fighting in control of territory for like the next
exist.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it makes it even like more tragic.
And I also think this movie, I think more than any other version that I've seen, paints the Jets as the bad guys.
Oh yeah.
That it's not like these are 2 gangs who are equal and Tony and Maria are the only pure ones.
They're just as good. They're just as bad.
The Jets are bad. The Sharks are just people who are trying to keep their lives together.
They're surviving.
Yeah, and they're trying to protect their own
the stuff that they've already had to fight for.
Yeah, they know they're out of place in this new place.
But they have rights.
And they have rights. But the Jets just continue to shove that fact in their face.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Shout out Ben Cook.
Shout out Ben Cook.
It was an honor to see you on screen, dude.
And we talked about him last week, but me and Jacob noticed this specifically. Especially in the dance in the gymnasium.
I mean, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Every scene.
But I noticed it specifically in that because there were moments that the camera would do a complete 180 and I'd be like, and Ben is still in front of the camera.
Yeah,
somehow the camera went to the complete opposite side of the gym, and Ben is still right in front of it.
Yeah. So cool.
So many shots. He's such a good dancer. I forget, and I think it's because like I went to school with him, and he was just Ben from PPAS, that like watching him on screen, I'm always like, I forget how just completely talented you are. That just like he is absolutely incredible. And I'm always like, oh yeah, Ben's really talented. And then I watch it and I'm like, fuck, Ben is really talented. Yeah. It's really incredible to watch.
I really liked the change to cool.
Yes.
I thought it was,
I dug it.
I thought it was super interesting because this is the first production of West Side Story that we see why Tony was a leader of the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His skills are he never dances in any of the other productions.
Thank God we get some backstory behind the guy.
And we get some backstory, yeah. I was like, wow, I actually know who Tony is this time around, instead of him being just like,
we'll go into
he's a Romeo type, you know?
Right.
What I wish I had seen more of was how that backstory affected his character. Like, it's like the directorial choices were there of how the story was going to be conveyed this time around, but the acting choices didn't match the script in some places where it could have been so connected.
And I think having that choice for backstory affects Maria more than it affects Tony. In this version? Because you were saying that you wish you could see how that backstory affects him now.
I
feel like like Maria cares more about who Tony was in the past than Tony does.
But Tony's really battling it. I mean, even it goes up until that last rumble where he finds himself on top of Bernardo and he stops because he doesn't want to be that guy who almost
does
that
things.
Kid.
I think it does a really amazing job of reframing a lot of things and putting a lot of things into a new perspective.
Even having like the opening sequence not be jets and sharks just messing with each other, being like bullying.
Yeah.
It's like the jets are on a mission.
Yeah.
The jets are there.
They have their objective.
And the sharks
the paint and the, to...
Changes to character and additional new characters are super cool.
Yeah.
I think this was the first time... I think the original movie feels still like a stage musical. Like, it feels like they're almost still on lots. Especially, I think, during America when they're dancing on the roof.
Sometimes I felt like there were lots.
Once or twice.
There's not a lot of CGI use in this movie, but when there is, it felt really obvious to me. And that took me out of it sometimes. Like, that shot, that shot of Tony... that we were talking about earlier is absolutely beautiful, but I was also distracted because I was like, I know that's not really happening behind him. It's still beautiful though, but it's weird because
it's been added in After
Effects.
Yeah,
it's weird because it's like the shot before is like him in a real space, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, all I see is CGI going on behind you.
Speaking of real spaces, I think this movie does a really good job of following, rather than the original West Side Story movie's perspective of when you're singing, you're not singing. That, like, the world around you does not acknowledge that there is a song and dance number happening.
In this movie,
everyone is aware that you are singing and dancing.
Yeah, thinking, like, specifically about, like, Maria. When he goes into the schoolyard and then the lights start coming on, and I'm like, that doesn't happen in real life, but who cares? Yeah. I'm in a movie right now.
It's not, just say it.
Okay. They explain it, because they show that as the guy walks forward, that he has just turned the lights on. So they're going, yes, we know this is a weird lighting effect.
There's a guy there.
There's
that
also
looks like spotlight.
There's also a realistic explanation for it.
Yeah.
So I really love that. I love the idea of musicals playing more with the idea of, like, no, they are singing. They're not, this isn't a metaphor. This isn't like, oh, they have to release this emotion and it's through song. Like, yeah, that's what they're doing. And you're seeing it. It's happening. I really dug that. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah. Yes.
I have one more shout out.
Ansel can sing.
Yeah, he can. Ansel can sing.
I was just much more interested in, like, everything else
going on around
Tony than Tony himself. Like,
Rachel is also just a perfect Maria.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to match.
I like her better than Natalie Wood, to be honest.
I 100% agree.
And also, I mean, that goes into, like, authenticity with what actors are portraying which roles.
Not having to have brown face on.
Yeah, and even like the Spanish language throughout the film.
Yes.
That it's unabashedly Spanish. There are no subtitles.
And I followed everything.
Yeah.
I might not know specific, like, what words you're using, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can follow this conversation.
That scene between Bernardo and Chino before the dance. Beautiful addition.
New scene, yes.
Yes. Depth to the character. And then you get to see Chino open up at the dance before it's interrupted. And, great stuff.
One more shout out before we do verdicts and then spoilers quickly, because I don't think spoilers will take too long.
I don't think
there's a couple things I want to talk about.
Okay.
A couple little moments. One more shout out to a colleague of mine, Victor Cruz, who has worked on this movie for like the past year. He makes a cameo in it at the very beginning. Super talented actor who's been doing a ton of his own work and just in the industry for a ton of years. Went to SUNY Purchase about 15 years before we did. BFA actor, super cool guy. Shout out to him. It was very cool to see him in this movie along with Ben Cook. In terms of verdict, having slept on it, I think I'm rounding out at like an 8.5.
Okay.
I thought it was really great, but my issues with it bring it just below a 9.
Wow.
So, like, I feel like I have to give it an 8.5. I really loved it. I thought the cinematography was some of the most beautiful that I've seen in probably the past couple of years. But I have issues with it. Yeah. So, I have to...
give it an 8.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the 7 to 8
I was going to say 7.9, I wanted to be...
I feel like after the quintet, the movie lost me a little bit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like once, or I felt like we came out of the movie and it was like, oh my god, that was a 2.5 hour movie, and I was like, I didn't really feel it. But thinking back on it after that quintet, that's when I was kind of like, okay, this is.
I know where we're going.
I know where we're going. Mm-hmm. Let's come on. But okay. I'm
that's
really...
the show, though,
yeah,
too.
I know, that's also just a show. So I think I'm just going to keep it at a solid 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. I'm really happy with it. In some ways, I think in a lot of ways, I like this better than the original.
Yeah.
I think in pretty much every way, but like 1 or 2, I like it better than the original.
Me too, and those 1 or 2 are Tony and Riff.
Oh, I liked Riff. I
thought they did really great, but I thought that the originals were...
Yes.
Those 2 characters, I liked the originals better.
Yes.
I had such gay panic with Tony and Riff. They were getting awfully close sometimes, and I was like, is Steven going to do it?
There was that sense of that, like, Mercutio... Romeo, that they might be, but they might not be relationship.
There was a point when they were first talking in the basement that they were like
there was one
this
moment.
Far apart, and I was like, is Steven gonna do this right now? Is he really gonna like tease this that they were a thing or something? Or
could have been a thing.
Or like maybe Riff had feelings for Tony, but like that's always kind of like like you said, like the Mercutio kind of thing, or like is he not?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I want to talk about Corey Stroll's character,
which I had no idea who was in the movie.
New lieutenant for the police force, which very much brings like Officer Krepke has always been.
Yeah, but there's always a lieutenant.
Yeah, there's always a detective.
There's always the guy who's above.
I thought the detective was written in for this.
No, they give him a lot more scenes because he's barely in the original. He's like, and the lieutenant's like, hey boys, cut the shit out, and then he leaves.
Word.
But like in this one, he has a much bigger role.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think with the expanding of that role then, not the addition of it, but the expanding, I think they do a really, really good job of showing the disparity between the 2 gangs and the fact...
how they're treated by
that
law enforcement.
The cops are very much like, get the sharks off the street, and, hey, listen, Jets, we're on your side, we don't like them either, let us know who's fucking around, and we'll get them out of your way. And it was very like, okay... Very early on, they say, like, this is the story we're telling. We're going to show you. Like, Maria has a job now.
Maria had a job.
Well, she had a job in a dress shop, and this is just the scaled-up version of that. Yeah. She works at Gimbals,
the thing in the original was I didn't feel like... I felt like that was, like, her and her... like family who work together.
Exactly, they all work for Gimbals.
The family
it's like
business.
A big
now it's like work for.
She pays rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She is a woman. I love that this film, solves the problem with Juliet, which is in Romeo and Juliet. Juliet is 13. She's a child still, and so there's very much a feeling of this older boy manipulates this child who he has fallen in love with. And so I think this Juliet being 18, a woman, very much acting like the kind of person who would want to take her life on.
Working and earning her independence.
I pay rent here. Bernardo, you do not take care of me. You have no right to tell me what I can and cannot do with my life or my body. And I loved that so much.
I took care of...
Yeah, I took care of our dad while you were in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And then...
All by myself. And now you're here, and you don't get to tell me what to do just because you're here now.
Yeah. Really cool.
And Anita's on her side, too.
Anita's on her side. Bernardo now being a boxer. That gives him such an expansion to
that
character.
was such a tiny little touch, but I really liked...
Yes, that he's a fighter.
Because then it's
why he's the leader of the Sharks.
That's why he's the leader of the Sharks, and that's why the Jets know that they have to bring extra
stuff. Of the Jets?
He's Tony's friend.
He was Tony's BFF.
His dad was the leader of the Jets, I think earlier.
Right, way back in the day.
Because he says, you remind me of... One of the guys that gives him a gun says, you remind me of your father. Which I thought played a lot into the point of the Sharks are all lower middle class immigrants fighting for a new opportunity. And the Jets are lower class white people who have given up and are like...
They couldn't make it Caucasians.
That's a
quote from the movie, and
the
got a lot of laughs.
Hard-working immigrants who are really just trying, and the fact that we have been told for so long, no, these two groups are equally bad. No. The Jets are people who have decided that they're, like they say early, the people who were like the Sharks, who were white, don't live here anymore. They live somewhere else.
They've gone on to bigger and better things.
They live in the suburbs.
You guys are stuck here.
Are the ones whose parents were drug addicts and drinkers and failed.
I also like...
Officer Krupke song.
Yeah, I also like that they do that too, because it gives you... This movie gives you reasons to not empathize with the Jets and also empathize with the Jets.
Yeah.
Because it's like the true villain is like society.
Poverty.
It's the poverty that these two groups have to suffer under. One group is handling it totally not in the right way, but both these groups are suffering.
Right.
You know? Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Really like I said, I'm really happy with how Steven...
Yeah, I think the changes that Steven and Tony did to America are fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
The changes in lyrics are so good. And it's such a great way to...
It's more about praising Puerto Rico than bashing Puerto Rico.
I read an article about that they went to the University of Puerto Rico, and the students there and the faculty was like, hey, just so you know, like, when we leave the island, it's not fuck the island.
Yeah.
We
not,
mourn.
and the money owing.
Yeah. And the bullets flying.
Yeah, because
like,
there's a lot of that shit here, too.
Yeah, we don't talk about our home like that. And I think Steven brought up the fact that he was like, oh, well, Arthur was writing from a place of Polish immigrants who were running and who were saying, get rid of the motherland, we never want to go back, it was so awful. And so to now have that authenticity, that feeling of like, we loved Puerto Rico, but you can't live there anymore. Mm-hmm. There is no opportunity there for a fresh life, so we had to come here where we're not wanted. And it's like... It's very powerful. I think it does a really good job. Yeah. Also, spoiler, but we're in spoilers, so I don't know why I said it.
The line has been blurred.
Yeah, the line is already... I already said we were crossing into it, so... Okay. This was the first time that I really understood what all Anita went through the night of the Rumble. Because I had never thought in my head Anita
This is the first time?
I never thought Anita... had to go down to the police station to identify that body.
Oh, yeah. That was a really good addition
never
as well.
thought...
I was like, this is rough.
She spent her whole night being like, my boyfriend is going to be home.
I'm going to get
it tonight.
Yo, say that in church,
home.
too.
He's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Gets a call. We need you to come identify this body. It's her boyfriend, who she's been with for 5 years, who she's probably going to get married to, who's dead. Then a cop shows up at her house... after she's caught her roommate, who's also her best friend, with the boy who murdered her boyfriend, and has had this emotional moment with her. She now has to look at this lieutenant who goes, well, you're just the girlfriend, so I don't give a fuck about you. And then this girl is like, can you go tell Tony that I'm gonna come meet him? And then she has the scene at Doc's.
Yeah.
This was the first time that I was like, all right, her night was awful up to Doc's, and then Doc's happened.
I mean, yeah.
And it's just awful. And having Rita Moreno do that scene... thank you. Having Rita Moreno do that scene with the Jets, and just that feeling that, like, in this movie, I feel like the Jets are done.
Yeah, they break up.
Yeah.
The end of that scene is, go home. Mm-hmm. We're over. Mm-hmm. Because we've gone from being the good guys...
Yeah.
We were the heroes fighting for our territory, and now we're monsters. And Do they use the word rapist in the original movie?
No,
not in the original.
In this movie,
No.
when she said,
I've watched
rapists,
you boys grow up since you were little, and you've become a bunch of rapists. And I was like, girl, you better tell them the truth.
Yes.
Yeah, in the first one, it's Doc being like, "You're killers. You kill each other, and you do this and that. When is it gonna end?" But
this was like,
you are all disgusting.
and it's also a new perspective of like, she is Puerto Rican.
Yeah,
and they don't recognize that. They have written her off as white.
Yeah,
and been like, oh, she's just Doc's wife.
I don't think.
Riff.
I don't think
she
so.
says early, Riff thinks I'm a gringo because I married a gringo.
That's true.
Riff does not treat me like a Puerto Rican.
She says that to Tony, and I'm thinking that Tony like makes fun of her accent and like.
But he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Kind of.
Yeah, but just
she literally says like, "Don't mock
fun
me."
Of his,
like, don't impersonate me.
But I feel like he does that not as like I'm making fun of her to my friends.
No, yeah, it's like we love each other so much.
Versus
and we can do this.
Riff and like the rest of the Jets' kind of attitude about Puerto Ricans, which is seen in what happens to Anita, in that feeling of like they don't treat her like a person, and they don't recognize her as human, and it's awful. And that scene, I could barely watch that scene because I knew it was coming. And another thing in that scene is the addition of all the girls not leaving in advance and being there for
to see how monstrous these people are.
Yeah, and to beg them to stop.
And they
do.
They beg them to stop before like it even goes down. Like
they're
like stop, wait, don't hurt her, and then they kick them out, and then they're
pounding on the door.
Yeah. It was really good.
Brutal.
I'm glad that we didn't really see.
I'm always nervous for that scene because I'm like, how far is it going to go?
Honestly, in terms of like what happens to Anita, it doesn't go that far.
No,
it ends.
It doesn't show a lot. A lot of it is covered by the body of the Jets.
And also, like all her clothes are still on.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's on the floor protecting herself.
Yeah,
which makes perfect sense. But Valentina gets upstairs very fast. Like there have been productions, and even I think in the movie where like Doc takes a while to get upstairs.
Yeah, and the Ivo Van Hove version was pretty hard to watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I think that's also kind of a different feeling because it's like someone's holding the camera, so it's that like almost like documentary kind of thing happening going on that really gives that added effect of like fucked upness.
Yeah,
no,
we're recording this happening
and also you're thinking to the cameraman do something like as if they're a participant.
Yeah, because they are. Well, in that version,
in that production, yeah.
I think sexual assault as a plot point is risky, and I think the way that Spielberg handled it in not being graphic is actually the best way to handle it. Because you got the entire point of what they were doing and what was happening, but there was never anything that would be seriously disturbing to watch. So I think that they really walked the line of like treating it with a lot of respect and not trying to be graphic and like brutal. And I really respected how they handled that scene.
Well done.
I respected how they handled a lot of things.
I want to see it again.
I would definitely see it again.
Yeah.
I think it was really, really good. And there's one more scene that I want to talk about. I know we're talking a long time about West Side Story, but there's a whole conversation now that there's a date! Tony and Maria go on a date!
Well, in the original, he meets her at work instead of meeting on the subway. And they have a cute little scene in the dress shop.
Yeah, at
where
the dress shop.
He's like,
that's not a date, though.
Well, that's the best they can do under their circumstances.
Right.
In
they
those
get alone
versions, time. They get alone time. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But in this one, yes, they do
in
get
this
to
one,
go.
they actually get to substance, and they're talking about like
life and who they are and
the inequality.
You think that our life is just as easy as you think we have the same problems?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's a really interesting conversation about.
He's like Riff is, and she's like,
Riff's had the whole world against him, and it's like, has he? Or
I know. This movie kind of portrayed Tony as a bit of a airhead sometimes.
I mean, he doesn't understand what he doesn't understand, I think. I think it portrays him as ignorant.
I wanted it to be because he was so wrapped up in the romance and the passion, though. He's ignorant. He's ignorant.
He's an ignorant white boy from a lower middle-class family.
I know, but even to show up to the Rumble thinking that he could stop it and have this man.
He used to be the leader of the Jets.
Yeah.
There was a time when
everyone, Riff continuously talks him up to Bernardo. So me and Tony will be there to discuss the terms.
You'll be there.
And then Tony's not there, and then Bernardo's like, "Is Tony going to be at the fight?" Because
Bernardo wants to kill Tony,
cool.
And Tony gets his shit rocked a couple times in the Rumble, which I really liked. I liked the fact that they showed Tony taking some hits before he did anything. That he was like, "I don't want to fight you." Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was raw.
It was
gritty. There were some messy shots.
The violence was violent. And I think that's something I sometimes miss. Yeah. Where the Rumble becomes too much of a dance.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard to portray the violence on a stage. And this, you can get close to it, on stage,
hitting people in the head.
On stage, it's the nail in the ear.
We saw the nail in the ear, and it was like, oh yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
The fact that they just rip it out of him.
I mean, that happens in the show too, right? They just pull it out.
There's no needle.
Yeah, I feel like that was an addition for film.
I thought they did something to Little John in the stage play.
He gets
some chalk on his face.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they did something more.
It's not as violent. This is a violent West Side Story.
Yeah, this is a West Side Story that shows that there's violence in this.
Yeah, we see those bullet holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And Chino is no longer just a villain. He's not just the scorned lover who's angry.
Yeah, the henchman type goon. He's not like that. He's a sweet guy, actually.
Who really felt like he owed Bernardo because Bernardo took care of him.
Owed it to his people, too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Go check out West Side Story if you can.
It's awesome.
We saw it in Dolby. See it in Dolby.
Oh, yeah, those whistles.
Those first whistles in the beginning, we were like, huh? Where?
Yeah. Where are they going to come from?
Yeah. Right, I felt like they were about to come in through the theater and be like, oh, it's right in front of us. Just kidding. It's a stage version of West Side Story.
It was good.
Loved it.
It was good.
I did really love it.
Yeah. Shall we move on?
I had a smile on my face the whole time. Sorry.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I think me too, except when I was crying.
It's true.
But yeah, let's transition now from a movie that just came out to a movie or a bunch of movies that are about to come out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. These segments are going to be a little long for the next couple episodes. We're into December. December is awards season. There's a lot of really good movies that come out around this time of year. So yeah. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm very excited, though. There's a lot of really good stuff that I'm excited to see. First up, we have the things that have already been in theaters that are now coming to VOD. Ron's Gone Wrong, which we talked about on Packcast 37, comes to Disney Plus tomorrow, Wednesday. And The Hand of God, which we talked about on Thanksgiving minicast, also comes to Netflix tomorrow. So check those two out. We talked about them back in those Packcasts, so if you want to hear about them, go check them out. I'm not going to touch on them here. First up, I have to start with this one because it's got a really special place in my heart. When I first started acting, this director from SUNY Purchase needed a young version of the lead for an independent feature he was working on called Solomon Grundy, and that was the first time I got to work with Mattson Tomlin, who this week is releasing his studio feature debut, Mother Android. Starring Chloe Grace Moretz and featuring Raul Castillo, who I absolutely love. I saw him in a film that Mattson wrote called Little Fish, which I've been trying to show you forever.
I know. I'm sorry, Mattson. I will watch it.
Yeah. It's because it's so intense that I know it's going to make you cry that, we just haven't sat down to do it yet.
I was ready for a good time.
Yeah.
When you pitched
the last time I pitched it.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like a pitch. It was more like,
do you want to watch this
Let's watch Little Fish. Can we watch Little Fish? And I was like,
sure.
Fish? Sure. It was a goldfish.
And then we started it and you were like, absolutely not. I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
And Raul Castillo was also in Night Teeth. He played the older brother, and we all really liked that movie. Back to Mother Android. Mother Android is inspired by the journey that Matsson's biological parents made in Romania to get him out of the country and give him a new life in the United States. Matsson's an incredible director and writer who I guarantee is going to be winning major awards before the end of this decade. So check out this movie. You will not want to miss it, I promise you. I will be watching it on Hulu pretty much the night it comes out. So
great.
Very, very ready for that one. Next up, from the animated world, we have Rumble coming to Paramount Plus tomorrow. In a world of monster wrestling,
I forgot about this one.
Steve, a monster who loves to dance, must rise to the occasion using the skills he has to save the town he loves and wrestle for the championship.
I feel like I've seen this movie before.
Probably. It feels like Real Steel, but like animated and like about a dancer rather than about like fighting robots. Directed by Hamish Grieve, who wrote alongside Matt Lieberman and Alexandra Bracken. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it's just an animated fun time. You're normally the animated movie person, so let's see if you'd be interested in it. But
I tend to like Pixar and
true.
Disney.
This is Paramount. A little bit of a different direction.
Yeah, I tend not to like Paramount or
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks is alright.
DreamWorks is
alright.
Hit and miss.
It's Illumination.
Illumination, really?
Sometimes. It depends.
Depends on what the movie is.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it. Switching to the world of documentary for a moment. We have director Jeremy Simmons and executive producer Michelle Visage bringing us the terrifying truth about breast implants in explant.
That's what Michelle sounds like.
I did not know that breast implants had not been approved by the FDA.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
I had heard reports that they were making women sick, but I didn't imagine it was this extreme. It's definitely worth a watch. We watched the trailer and we were both very concerned. Michelle got really sick.
Wow.
And she thought it was her breast implants, and it looks like it actually might be.
Wow.
That these implants were making her sick. So, excited to see.
It's a scam, y'all. Don't get your boobs done.
And excited to see what kind of happens just in the world of cosmetic surgery following
after
this movie.
Yeah.
Does that surgery continue? Do we see it fall off? Or
adding
is there
silicone to your body might not
be the best
answer.
idea. Yeah. Going back to narrative. From Jewish director-writer Andrew Levitas, we have Minamata, starring Johnny Depp, who I think looks excellent in this role. Minamata is the story of war photographer W. Eugene Smith, who went to Japan to report on the effects of mercury poisoning in coastal communities. Based on the book by Smith and his Japanese wife, Miyoko Smith, this looks intense, and I'd be very intrigued to see it. Love Johnny Depp, and I like seeing him in a role where he looks like he really, acts. There's sometimes that I feel like he's playing a character, and this feels less character and more actor. And I think that Johnny Depp deserves some good roles. I'm on Johnny Depp's side. Justice for Johnny.
Okay.
Alright! The big movie coming out this week.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home! From director John Watts and longtime duo Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, the third film in the newest of the Spider-Man iterations, Tom Holland is going to have his hands full dealing with the villains from the multiverse. I cannot freaking wait! The Disney Plus shows have set this up so well. I am ready. If you haven't seen Loki or WandaVision, highly recommend watching both of those before you see this movie.
Or the the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Or the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Or Venom. Or...
if you haven't seen Homecoming,
Far
You've
From
got a
Home.
lot of homework to do if you haven't caught up by this point.
MCU is a task.
I want to see Eternals just in case before.
There will probably be a mention. Me and Jeremy.
I hope so.
There's an event in the Eternals that
so.
we think is going to be brought up in Spider-Man, and we think you're going to be like, the what in the where?
I hope so.
All right, I gotta see it. I just gotta see it.
It's a good movie.
See Eternal.
Next up, a film which honestly some people might be more excited about than Spider-Man, Nightmare Alley. The master of the modern monster, Guillermo del Toro, returns, and honestly, just go watch the trailer. If you like del Toro's style, you'll dig it. I don't feel like I can explain it in a way that's not going to take me 15 minutes to explain, because it's really complex and intricate, and oh my gosh, it looks cool. Written by del Toro and Kim Morgan, based on the novel by William Lindsay Gresham. I can't wait to see what surprises lay in store. Guillermo del Toro always does a great job.
It looks a bit like American Horror Story, Freak Show.
Yes,
I'm getting those type of vibes.
But
there's
with his kind of magical
kind of going on, and there are some freaks and there's some murders.
Did you see Shape of Water?
No, I need to.
That was a great
Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth I need to watch finally.
Yeah, those are both great movies.
Yeah. Guillermo del Toro is brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next, from director George Clooney, we have The Tender Bar, a story of a boy growing up on Long Island and the path he takes on the road to become a writer. As a writer, it caught my eye, and as a George Clooney fan, it has my attention. Written by William Monahan, based on the book by J.R. Mogringer, and starring Ben Affleck, Ty Sheridan, Lily Rabe, Christopher Lloyd, and Daniel Ranieri, this one looks beautiful. I love a good character-based story. I love a good coming-of-age drama. They always have a warm place in my heart. And George Clooney as a director, I think, does a really good job, so I'm excited. Okay, so, my first thought when looking at this next film was it felt like Indiana Jones in the style of Cowboy Bebop. A Chinese film, Schemes and Antiques, is a series of adventures that looks like a lot of fun. From director Chi Ken-kwok, I'm excited to see more movies from other countries coming to the US. It looks delightfully fun, and especially after Cowboy Bebop got canceled on Netflix, I would like to see more things in that style. I know that people didn't necessarily love that version of the show, but I think that filmmaking style is super cool, and I want more of it in the US. I want more of it in my
what's
theaters.
the verdict on Cowboy Bebop?
Canceled.
Hated by fans of the original series.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think unless a live-action anime sticks completely 100% to the source material, it's gonna get panned by fans, and I think Cowboy Bebop went and did its own thing rather than sticking to the source material, and so fans had a real problem with that. And I've heard that it kind of goes way in its own direction past the first episode. I've still only seen the first episode, so I can't really speak on it. Next up, we have directorial debut of Maggie Gyllenhaal with The Lost Daughter, written by Gyllenhaal based on the novel by Elena Ferrante. This psychological thriller appears to explore the relationship between mothers and their daughters. It looks super intense. I'm very intrigued. Olivia Colman, Dakota Johnson, and Jessie Buckley. Woo-hoo! It looks like a psychological thriller. I'm not sure if they're setting up Dakota Johnson to be Olivia Colman's daughter, or if they're just setting it up as, like, she reminds her of her daughter. But
I think it's literally
her daughter. And
well, that's the sense I got from it.
That's the sense I got, but I don't know if I couldn't tell if Dakota Johnson recognized her as her mother, or...
Oh my gosh, this sounds like another movie we're going to talk about later, of lost children.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting. Maggie Gyllenhaal's a director. I'm intrigued to see it. Back to documentary for a moment. We have Camilla Nielsen's film President, which follows the rise of Nelson Chamisa, the opposition leader in Zimbabwe, and the corruption that fought against him. This happened during the presidential election of 2018, so we're about 3 years removed, but it looks very timely with the insanity we dealt with in our election this year, with January 6th continuing to be in the news for the absolute shit show that it was. I think it's very interesting to see a movie about another country that was dealing with massive corruption and an attempted coup a couple years earlier. So I'm interested to see that one. What's next? Okay. Swan Song! This looks like it's going to make me cry. From Academy Award winner Benjamin Cleary comes the story of Cameron Turner, played by Mahershala Ali, who's diagnosed with cancer and given the opportunity to be replaced by an exact doppelganger to allow his family's life to go on. It looks Black Mirror as all heck, and I'm so into it. Apple TV Plus. Bringing the hits.
Intense.
I'm gonna sob through this one. It looks like the episode of Black Mirror,
Oh, I know exactly.
Season 2, Episode 3, I believe it is, Entire History of You.
Oh, yeah.
No, not
Season
Entire
2,
History of
episode
You.
1.
The episode where
Husband dies
and then
by a clone.
Yeah, of the same husband.
Oh, yeah.
So it looks like
season 1,
that, but it also, I think, mixed with that Paul Rudd show that was on Netflix, where he had a doppelganger that he was like, "You're me?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm you, but better."
Look at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two
I
of
know
us
what
or
you're talking
whatever. Both of us.
So yeah, that one looks cool. Apple TV Plus has really been doing a good job recently. This next film, coming to theaters and VOD the same day, is called The Novice, directed and written by queer filmmaker Lauren Hadaway. It follows freshman Alex Dahl as she struggles to reach the varsity boat on her college rowing team, no matter the cost. It looks like an intense look at what it takes to be the best at something, and I, for one, am deeply interested. I love movies about rowing. I've started really getting into it, especially as we've started working out. I've thought that rowing is just, really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think this looks super cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to do a movie about rowing at some point. That'd be fun.
Here's hoping, man.
Fingers crossed. Okay, from Denmark, we have director Charlotte Seeling bringing us Margaret, Queen of the North, a drama about a mother whose long-dead son returns home. Written by Seeling along with Jesper Fink and Maya Ilso. This looks like an intense historical drama. Is he the son? Is he lying? Who's the true king? Yeah, kind of Game of Thrones-y, kind of...
What language is this film?
Swedish, I believe. Okay. It's Denmark, Norway, that kind of pocket of countries. Finally, last movie. We have director-writer Jonathan Noseter. We have Last Words, a post-apocalyptic movie featuring what looks like an incredible performance from Nick Nolte. The film follows Kai, played by Kaifa Torre, who builds a film camera and goes on a journey to make connections with those left still alive. I know we're all tired of apocalypse movies, but this one should be worth a watch. It looks like it's interesting. It looks like there's another series, I think, coming to HBO that my mom wants to see that has a similar idea, like performing troupe in a post-apocalyptic world. What does it mean to be like a traveling artist in the apocalypse?
Yeah, your mom was talking about that.
Yeah, I think this looks like it's very much kind of capturing that idea of like, what purpose does art have? What purpose does capturing reality have when we're like in the end of the world? And so I think it's really interesting, that perspective of like, you capture something and it's never gone, it's never forgotten. I think it looks super good. Those are the movies coming out this week. There's a couple more, but we don't have time to talk about everything. I'm so sorry. They are all in the description or the comments below. They are not on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Do not check there. But go see movies. If you see Mother Android, tag me and Black Wolves. If you see any of the movies, tag Black Wolves. Specifically Mother Android, just because I care about it so much. Let me know that you're seeing it. I would love to know that you're supporting it. Go support filmmakers. Go support local cinema. Go to AMC. Watch something on Netflix. I don't care. Just watch movies. Don't pirate. You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't download a car.
Download a car.
I would, though. That's the problem.
Just download
if you can download a car, wouldn't you do it?
See, this is the problem with NFTs.
What are we watching this week? What are we consuming this week?
Jacob?
I'm not ready for the season finale of Succession.
Nope!
But it's right around the corner for me right now.
Wait.
Just because I don't love you doesn't mean I don't love you.
Yeah. Heartbreaking stuff, Jeremy. You gotta get in on it.
Brutal.
Crazy show. Not ready for it to end.
The man dying of thirst is suddenly a mineral water connoisseur?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's so many quotable lines on that show. I just love it so much.
Yes. What else am I enjoying? Inkmaster. Just
nice.
Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Great pick.
And yeah, that's about it. I mean, have you watched it?
No, not yet.
Inkmaster,
I watched it in the past.
Like randomly?
Yeah.
Oh my god, what an intense show.
I think all of those shows are really, really cool. Like Inkmaster, Face Off.
I'd love to show you guys an episode after the pod.
Let's do it.
If you're into it.
Yeah.
That's me.
We're going to watch Inkmaster after the pod, I guess.
I'm not really consuming much this week.
Great. Logan? I'm just kidding.
I'm excited for the Formula One
finale.
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Same.
Tomorrow morning.
Yep.
8 a.m.
It'll be crazy. And longtime favorite artist of ours, Kyle, just dropped a new single called Perfect.
That's
and
good, yeah.
It's dancey and glitzy and kind of a new sound for Kyle, so boy, keep it up.
Yeah.
I have downloaded the West Side Story soundtrack in order to... It's probably the Ghost.
Yeah.
West Side Story soundtrack because I thought it was really good, specifically listening to G Officer Krupke and Tonight. I also... Sorry, I really enjoyed just listening to the dance again. Just hearing that music.
No, but you meant Mambo.
I mean all of it. All three parts are really great. So that's been really good. I'm still watching Love Life, which I have to watch like one episode a week because at least right now in the season, it's just fucking brutal. He is not having a good time. Ari and Moyad killing it on that show and Succession. I don't know why they keep casting you as assholes. You're so nice.
Yeah. Plays a good asshole, I guess.
He plays a good asshole, but just it's so like seeing him play like a dismissive, doesn't care about people person is just so the opposite of him and the caring, genuine person that he is that it's just like, it's so fun to watch. I am watching Dimension 20's The Unsleeping City and Critical Role Campaign 3. I, of course, saw West Side Story with you two. Playing Cyberpunk 2077, playing Apex.
Yes, okay.
Is there anything else I'm consuming? I don't think so. I think it's been kind of a light week in terms of my consumption.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this.
Oh, wait! I went to see AEW live. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, you did
I
do
went to
that.
see AEW live. It was super great. It was super fun. Personally, I think it's the best professional wrestling in the world right now. Yeah, I thought it was a great show. It was super fun. Long Island went crazy, and was a very interesting crowd. But I got some cool merch. I got a hoodie. It's sitting over there. But yeah, wrestling live. Very fun. Yeah, I loved it. It was great. Went with collective member Mike, who was on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
True that.
Yeah.
True.
Thanks for watching the Black Bulls Packcast. As always, drop a like, drop a comment. Talk to us. We'd love to talk to you.
Final shout out of the episode before we sign off. Shout out to Anchor for officially sponsoring the Black Wolves Packcast. That's right, folks. We're officially sponsored. So if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Play or Podomatic or wherever you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening, not if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening, you're helping us out with that ad revenue, and you probably heard us at the beginning of this episode. So thanks so much. Maybe turn us on when you go to bed.
If you still want to watch us,
yes,
just go over to Spotify
and watch the video podcast.
So
crazy that we can do that now.
Yeah.
Hello, Spotify viewers.
Hi. Good to see you.
Thanks for watching and keep watching. Stay tuned. Next week we'll be talking about our favorite things of 2021.
Yeah, it's our last episode of the year.
Yeah. I love you guys. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
I started out this podcast in a bad mood, and you know what? We turned that right around.
Of course.
Happy to hear that. The power of the podcast.
Yeah.
As always, I'm Jeremy Van Suarez.
I'm Jacob Wade.
I'm Logan Riley Bruner.
And we love you.
We do.
We do.
Now go get a good night's sleep.
Please.
You deserve
Do it.
You look tired.
8 hours. Go for it. Fuck it.
9 hours.
10.
Make it 12.
Okay.
Sleep the whole day.
All right.
I'll sleep from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. any day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night.